Hello, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Rosten's Reviews. My name is Mr. Rosten, 7'4" social studies teacher here at BMS, and I'm very excited to bring you episode 11 of Rosten's Reviews. That's right, friends, 29 weeks until summer vacation, 29 weeks until we've got our feet in the sand, the wind blowing off the ocean in our faces, and it's going to be lovely. This is going to be a very quick episode, and you might be saying to yourself, why? Well, it's because we are doing our final assessment of Unit 1, and I can't give away too many answers, so I just want to make sure that we review exactly what we did and how we did it, and then it'll be the first grade of second quarter. So let's jump right into it, shall we? So we are in the midst of working on our historical investigation. Our HIQ question is, who was to blame for the Boston Massacre? And we're looking at 6 different sources, friends, right? We're looking at 6 different sources, and we're trying to figure out who was to blame for the Boston Massacre. Was it the Patriots and the colonists, or was it the British and the soldiers and the Parliament because of the taxes? So what we did for each source is we went through and we sourced it. We did the 5 W's, the who created it, what type of source is it, where was it created, when was it created, and why was it created. We went through our credibility checklist, and then we started annotating. So if you remember, the way we annotate here in social studies is we use the 6 points of annotation. So the first thing we do is we circle our vocabulary words. We underline our topic or topic sentence. We bracket or highlight our important information, i.e. our evidence. We write a 1-sentence summary about what we learned, and then we create a question we have based on the evidence we found. So we're doing that for all 6 sources. I have graded your annotations. They snuck in as the last grade of quarter 1, and then the essay that you're writing will be part of quarter 2. So we went through these 6 sources, as you all know, and then we started writing. So if you remember, the way I'm teaching you to write your essays is to write your body paragraphs first. Why? Because that's the way real historians do it. They don't write the introduction and the conclusion first. They write their body paragraphs first. They see where the evidence leads them, and then they create their introduction based on what they've written and their conclusion. All right, so if you remember, we use PEAL, right? So point, evidence, elaboration, and link. So I gave you some sentence starters just to kind of help you out. I reminded you that for your point sentence, you needed to have your side of the argument plus a because, right, in there. And then you had to give a reason why your side of the argument is correct. We talked about how we say according to, and then we give the title of our source, right? We're not just saying according to source 1 or source 2 anymore. We're actually giving the title of the source so that the reader knows where the source actually came from. We know that for our elaboration, we have this means and this proves. So the first thing we do is we explain to the reader what the evidence means in our own words, and then this proves and show how it proves our point. And then last but not least, we have our link. Think of it as our concluding sentence, and we can use one of our 2 sentence starters in conclusion or as you can see. And then you've got your paragraph. And then for our introduction, we use ABC, right? ABC, 1, 2, 3, just like the Michael Jackson song, right? So your attention grabber needs to be 1 sentence long. It can be a question, a quotation, an interesting fact, or a statistic. We then provide some context to the reader by using the 5 W's of the event. So like, for example, we wrote here on March 5th, 1770, the Boston Massacre happened. Captain Preston and his men were at the Boston Customs House trying to break up a protest over taxes, and then things got weird, right? And then we have our claim statement, and we know that for our claim statement, we need how many reasons? Not 1, not 2. That's right, 3 reasons. And then you have your essay, guys. And yeah, that's really it. So that's what we did in social studies this week. We focused solely on the Boston Massacre and our HIQ. A couple of important announcements before I cut out of here, because this is a very short one. First announcement is Parent-teacher conference signups are going out for me today at 3 o'clock on Parent Square. So as I tell all of my students all the time, you are welcome at your conference if your parent allows you to be there, right? It's about you. And I always feel like we can have an honest conversation if you're there, right? We can say all the good things, the things that you need to improve, and then we can just be honest and have an open conversation about what really happens in my classroom. All right. So take this for what it is. You are invited to your conference. Okay. Second thing is we're going to be doing some practice ESPA next week. We have to do these things called IABs. Basically, it's like it takes a single standard that you work on throughout the year, and it sees where you are. So that's what we're doing next week before we start Unit 2, which should just be so much fun. All right, friends. So that's all I got for you this week. I hope you enjoyed the day off yesterday. I know things were a little crazy, but we got the day off, and I hope you used it wisely. And that's it for Rosten Reviews, episode 11. So as I always say at these times like these, remember, friends, be kind to one another. Peace be with you and with you. Mr. Rosten, out.